shit over with, shit. We dropping this done deal. Bro, let them know it's a done deal. Why is it done?
Yo, so this Pooh Shiesty situation with Gucci Mane is absolutely wild when you actually break down what the federal government has on them. This isn't just alleged anymore. There's video evidence, there's surveillance, there's text messages, there's a literal trail of premeditation that's impossible to deny.
Damn. Let them know you dropping me,
I'll drop you.
No, say it.
Pooh Shiesty dropping 1017.
Shout out to real nigga ain't never did no police shit or none of that, bro. Tell them what's going on.
Bro, we just did that. That's done.
What you do?
You drop. You said you want.
And what's crazy is that Pooh Shiesty apparently wanted all of this documented. He wanted evidence of his crime. That's the level of delusion we're dealing with here. Let me break down exactly what happened, because this case shows how far some people are willing to go over a record deal dispute. So Pooh Shiesty was signed to Gucci Mane's 1017 Records label. He was a protege of Gucci's, someone Gucci helped develop and put on the map. But apparently, Pooh Shiesty wasn't happy with his contract terms. Instead of handling it like a professional, going to a lawyer, negotiating, getting out of the deal the legal way, Pooh Shiesty decided to orchestrate an armed kidnapping and robbery to force Gucci into releasing him from his contract. Let me be clear about what federal prosecutors are alleging here. They're saying that on January 10th, 2026, Pooh Shiesty, his father, rapper Big 30, and 6 other people traveled from Memphis to Dallas. They lured Gucci Mane to a recording studio under the pretense of a business meeting. And when Gucci got there, Pooh Shiesty allegedly pulled out an AK-47 and forced Gucci at gunpoint to sign paperwork releasing him from his contract. That's not a business negotiation. That's kidnapping and armed robbery. That's federal crime level stuff. And the evidence is damning. The government has surveillance footage from the studio and surrounding buildings. They have license plate reader data showing multiple suspects traveling together from Memphis to Dallas. They have electronic monitoring data placing Pooh Shiesty at the location, important because he was supposedly on home confinement with restrictions. They have hotel rental records, they have text messages from Pooh Shiesty recruiting people to participate in this robbery. But here's where it gets even more crazy. Not only did they commit the crime, they apparently recorded it. According to federal prosecutors, Big 30 recorded the encounter on his phone at Pooh Shiesty's request. And what that video allegedly shows is Pooh Shiesty forcing Gucci Mane to state on camera that he's being dropped from 1017 Records. Gucci in the video is not panicking. He looks more annoyed than anything else. He's basically like, yeah, I dropped you, it's done. But the whole thing is clearly coercive.
You drop.
Sign the paper,
It's done.
This shit over with, shit. You dropping this done deal. Bro, let them know
It's a done deal.
Why is it done deal? Let them know you dropping me,
I'll
bro.
drop you.
No, say it.
Pooh Shiesty dropping 1017.
Shout out to real nigga ain't never did no police shit or none of that.
You can feel it. Gucci's not making this statement voluntarily. He's making it at gunpoint. Think about that for a second. Pooh Shiesty wanted proof. He wanted video documentation of his crime. He wanted the world to see him forcing Gucci Mane to release him from a record deal. That's not the decision-making of someone thinking clearly. That's the decision-making of someone caught up in the moment. Someone who thinks he's a villain in a movie and wants to cement his legend. Now let's talk about how Pooh Shiesty even managed to do this when he was supposed to be on home confinement. According to prosecutors, he had help from a supervisor at the halfway house where he was staying. This woman was allegedly sleeping with Pooh Shiesty, and she used her position to grant him unauthorized day passes that allowed him to travel outside the restrictions imposed by the court. She remained in contact with him and approved travel beyond his authorized schedule, so this supervisor, who was responsible for monitoring him, allegedly let him out of confinement on the exact day he committed a federal crime. That's the level of enablement we're talking about. It's not just Pooh Shiesty making bad decisions, it's multiple people. His father, Big 30, his crew, a federal supervisor, all participating in or enabling this crime. This wasn't a spontaneous thing, this was planned. This was organized. This was multiple people deciding, yeah, let's do this. And the text messages, these are the most revealing part because they show the mentality. Prosecutors released text messages where Pooh Shiesty is recruiting people for this robbery. He's literally texting people asking if they want to throw away their life by participating in a violent robbery. And people were responding like, yeah, I'm in. Where do I need to be? The level of casual acceptance of committing a federal crime is insane. One person texted, I got the cat in TRX. These hoes drink gas though. Another said, everybody, if you're ready to crash out, if you're ready to spend the rest of your life in prison, if you're ready to give everything up, get in touch with KD ASAP. That's not hyperbole. That person was literally telling people they're going to prison and they were still down to do it. The mentality here is what's most troubling. These aren't people who were forced into this. These aren't people who didn't know what they were signing up for. They knew. They were explicitly told they could spend the rest of their lives in federal prison, and they said yes anyway. That's the street gang mentality that federal prosecutors are trying to address. It's a mentality where prison is seen as a badge of honor, where loyalty to the crew is more important than your freedom, where participating in violent crime is normalized and rewarded. And Pooh Shiesty was the one cultivating that mentality. He was the one sending out the call. He was the one making the decision to kidnap and rob someone. And because he has credibility on the streets, because he's a rapper, because he's been to prison before, because he's got the Memphis gang affiliations, people listened. People said yes. People were willing to throw their lives away. This is what federal prosecutors mean when they argue that Pooh Shiesty is a danger to the community. They're not just talking about him as an individual. They're talking about his ability to mobilize people around violent crime. Federal prosecutors literally described him as Thanos, someone who can assemble an army of 100 people at the snap of a finger. And based on the evidence, that might not be far off. Gucci Mane's own security team had to write a letter to the judge pleading with them not to release Pooh Shiesty on bond. That's how serious people view the threat he poses. What makes this even worse is that Pooh Shiesty was already a convicted felon. He'd already done time in federal prison. He was released just months before this alleged crime. He was on home confinement with restrictions on possessing firearms and where he could go. And instead of using that second chance to turn his life around, he immediately went back to violent crime. That tells you everything you need to know about whether rehabilitation was even an option here. The federal prosecution strategy is clear. They're building an airtight case that this was premeditated, organized, and executed with criminal intent. They have the video evidence. They have the recruitment text messages. They have the electronic monitoring data. They have the surveillance footage. They have the contract that was allegedly signed at gunpoint. They have witness testimony. This isn't circumstantial. This is documented. And Pooh Shiesty's defense team is trying to claim this was just a business meeting at the studio, a business meeting where people got robbed at gunpoint, a business meeting where someone was forced to sign documents. That doesn't hold up. The evidence is too strong. What's also telling is how other co-defendants have been handling this. Some of them, including Big 30, have been released on bond, but Pooh Shiesty remains in federal custody. The judge essentially said no conditions of release can protect the community from the danger this guy poses. That's a serious statement. That means the judge looked at all the evidence and basically said this man is too dangerous to be on the street. And when you actually think about what he didn't just rob someone. He orchestrated the kidnapping of his former mentor, someone who gave him an opportunity in the music industry. He violated his federal supervision. He recruited multiple people to commit violent felonies. He recorded evidence of his own crime. He showed a complete disregard for the law and for consequences. What really gets me is the betrayal aspect. Gucci Mane gave Pooh Shiesty an opportunity. Gucci signed him to his label. Gucci helped develop him as an artist, and Pooh Shiesty responded by kidnapping and robbing him at gunpoint. That's not just criminal behavior. That's the ultimate disrespect to someone who believed in you. The music industry is full of disputes about contracts. Artists don't like their terms. They get lawyers to negotiate. They fight it out in court if necessary. But that's not what happened here. Pooh Shiesty chose violence. He chose to traumatize Gucci Mane. He chose to betray the trust of someone who invested in him, and he wanted it on video. This case is going to trial in 2027, and based on the evidence that's already come out, I don't see how Pooh Shiesty avoids serious prison time. The government has too much. Video evidence, text messages, electronic monitoring data, surveillance footage. This isn't going to come down to he said, she said. This is going to come down to documented facts. And what that means is that Pooh Shiesty is about to lose a significant portion of his life to federal prison. He was released just months before this crime. He could have rebuilt his career. He could have negotiated out of his contract. He could have moved on and built something. Instead, he chose violence, and now he's facing potentially life in prison. That's the tragic part of this story. Not tragic for Gucci's, going to be fine. Tragic for Pooh Shiesty, who threw away what could have been a legitimate music career because he couldn't handle a business dispute like an adult. And tragic for everyone else involved who got caught up in his decision to commit violent federal crimes. Peace.